Welcome to the MotUS Edge, where we celebrate business, primarily youth sports facility management, leadership, and motivation. Co-hosted by Stacy Rowe, Cole Stott, Kevin Brubaker, and Casey Jones. We are here to fill your cup with knowledge, laughter, affirmations, and comfort knowing that you're not alone. You can and will succeed with the MotUS Edge.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the MotUS Edge, where we talk about leadership, motivation, and all things cheerleading and dance biz. I am Stacy Rowe, here with my favorite co-host, Casey Jones, and our guest today is comedian, cheer dad, Jay Yoder, and a fellow Eagles fan. You all have no idea how excited I am to actually have a true Eagles fan on the show. Made my day.
Oh my goodness. I think we're going to turn this into an Eagles podcast,
I think maybe,
we, at some point?
Maybe. I think our listeners don't mind, right? If we talk about the Eagles the entire time. I mean, there's so much.
E-Age. No, okay.
Oh, yes. Come on. Fly, Eagles, fly.
She has not stopped celebrating since that Super Bowl. So.
Oh. This actually, the sweatshirt has the date on it from when it had the last one. I took my youngest daughter to her first game recently, and she loved it. I wondered, she's 9, so I didn't know if she would take it, but she wanted to stay for the whole thing, and it was it's such an experience to go to a game like that.
Do you have a commemorative Super Bowl football?
No, I wish I did.
Stacy's going to have to send you a picture of hers.
I do. It's in my work office, and that is not this office, so I don't have it here. But yes, my lovely business partner sent me a commemorative Eagles football Super Bowl victory win football, which was pretty. I literally, so here, you got to hear this funny story. So I guess Casey knew it was like supposed to be kind of getting delivered. So he was like, "Hey, did you get like a package or something?" And I'm like, "No, I hadn't received anything. I didn't know what he's talking about." You know what I mean? And then like, what was it? A couple days goes by, right, Casey?
Yeah. I'm like worried about this thing. Like I'm excited for her to get it, you know?
And it was supposed to be like a signature upon delivery, I think, right? Is what you said. Anyway, Jay, my husband and I are pulling out to go out of town, I think, or I don't even know. We were leaving the house and there's a box in the road, like kind of smashed on the side. And I'm like, what is that box? And so I get out of the car and I grab it and it says it's from Casey Jones. And I'm like, I bet this is the package that Casey was talking about. So I text him. I'm like, I haven't opened it yet, but we got it. You know, we're going wherever we're going.
It's on the road. Somebody ran over. I hope it's okay.
And then I get back to the house later on that night or the next day. Like I said, I can't remember, but we were leaving. So I didn't even open it initially was the point that I'm trying to make. And then when I finally open it, I mean, I like waterworks. I was so excited. I just started crying like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. My husband, of course, is a Miami Dolphins fan and he hates the Eagles. And it was only okay.
He's the Amazon guy to like leave it in the middle of the road. He's like, just let it be.
Right, no kidding.
Let's run over it again.
Right. And my brother, the only reason why I was allowed to marry my husband is because my brother at the time was also a Miami Dolphins fan. Otherwise, the fam would not have been okay with like a non-Eagles fan in the fam. My brother has since converted, but anyway, I couldn't keep the football on the mantle in the living room where I wanted to put it. So it's at my office. I get to look at it every day.
That's true. I mean, you could have decided to not keep the husband, and then you could have put the football wherever you wanted. So.
This is true. I don't know that Chris would like that so much, but you're right. I guess I could have kept the husband or the football on the mantle and the husband outside.
Sports divide families. I'll tell you what, it's no joke. Half my family was either Yankees fans or Phillies fans, and so like 2009 was a rough year for our family. It was like I
was going to say that's a tough rivalry.
It's amazing how much people draw it because it is. Well, it's you guys know, and the passion of parents. I know you guys were talking in the past about parents and their passion and ambition and their expectations, but you know, I think when we get into sports and we get into competitive sports, like our brains shift. Like we become a different person, and sometimes not a better one. You know, there's a reason they have a jail in every stadium. There's a judge on duty like that.
Yeah, that is so funny because I believe you're correct. They literally have a jail in every stadium.
That is crazy. Because
I mean, you know, there's a reason. Too, I think like soccer, at least in Europe, they're like, you're not allowed to drink. Like I think a lot of stadiums are dry, and this concept of like tailgating out in the parking lot is a very American concept. So sometimes I think it's such a shock. I went over to Europe a couple times, went to some Real Madrid soccer matches, and
oh man,
it's
awesome.
a different kind of fanaticism. It's more of like they have we have the Fly Eagles Fly, but they had like chants they sang the entire game, not just like when somebody scored.
The
like
chants, the drums. What are they? I don't know
scarves.
I don't know a lot about soccer,
yes.
but I went to Atlanta United game, and they've got this whole section of these drummers. Like, it was really cool. Kind of down in one
really
end.
intense.
They did. So my son's a soccer player, and we've never been overseas in Europe for a game. I would love to be able to do that for him one day. But he's funny. He's kind of in that weird, like, awkward teenage stage. He had this opportunity, honest to God, to go to England and do a 2-week like summer camp and a tour of one of the universities and play with one of the clubs over there. Nah, I'm good. That's how he responded to it.
Really?
I'm like, we would love to send you. Like, this would be such a cool experience for you. Like, Dad and I'll figure it out. Like, we'll make it happen if this is what you want to do.
I was that guy. Guy. Nah, I don't want to do that. It's
you don't want to get outside your comfort.
As we segue into cheerleading, I remember when the Olympics came to Atlanta. I'm right in the area. I am a cheerleader. I'm a college cheerleader. I'm also coaching cheerleading and all that. And it's like, oh, they're going to do, cheerleading in the open ceremonies. It's right here. You should do it. Nah, I'm good. I got a lot of private lessons. Once in a life, like, when am I ever going to be in the opening ceremonies again? So that's one of those
now
things.
Now you get to be the guy who said you had the opportunity and didn't take it.
Yeah, I literally went to one of the practices, and I was like, I'm missing out on a private lesson here. Like,
literally. And cheer's now going to be in the Olympics, right? Is that not?
It's not yet. I know that's something that Jeff Webb spent a large portion of his life working on. That's obviously he passed away recently, and that's something that we're all sad about in this sport. But that's literally what he wanted his legacy to be, and he put forth a lot of work. There's just challenges and some things I've learned about getting a sport into the Olympics, and a lot of it. Crazy enough, a lot of it depends on how much room is in the Olympic Village. They have X amount of rooms, and if your teams are huge, so if you've got a 24-member cheerleading team,
it's like 10,000 athletes or something, that you can only have 10,000 athletes, and so if a team of 24 cheerleaders is joining, and it's not just one team, it's however many teams.
Countries have a team.
Then what sports are exiting with that number of athletes to make room? So I do know that, like they've talked about, if it were to ever come in there, it would shrink the size of the team for the Olympics specifically. But even still, even if you did 12, like that's still a lot of people.
And that's what Jeff used to tell me. He was like, it will look if we do get it in, it's likely going to look very different than what we think. And then he used an example of rugby, which I didn't know this. I don't know a lot about rugby, but I guess rugby in the Olympics is played with a different amount of players than it's played any other time of year, just due to that. Yeah, due to the same restrictions. So,
which good for rugby being in the Olympics because of the Ilana Mar, or whatever her name is.
She has blown up.
She has, and she's brought a ton of attention to rugby. I never paid attention to rugby before her, and now I'm like, heck yeah, let's go rugby.
Yeah, well, she's great, and I love her post because just the positivity, the confidence of what she class act and role model for young girls like my daughters. Like, love it. You love to see it.
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
Totally.
Well, let's talk about a real sport. The sport, cheerleading, all-star cheerleading.
It's the only sport. Is there any other sport?
Right, exactly.
Does anything else exist?
It's one of those things, Jay, you alluded to it earlier, but when you get into sports, you can become fanatical. You can become crazy. It is all encompassing, all of that. And I think sometimes, people look at cheerleading and like, man, look at that. There's a whole crazy moms of cheer, this and that and the other. I am certain that there are plenty of Philadelphia Eagles crazy fans of, what we're doing, to me,
Philadelphia, the Eagles definitely has no shortage of crazy fans. That is for sure.
It kind of legitimizes what we're doing, that people are becoming fanatical over what we're doing. It legitimizes the sport, so to speak. So,
I mean, when you look at any sport, and I was big, baseball was my sport growing up, but there's just something about the beauty of timing, right? Whether it's a ground ball and you moving to get in front of it and in such a position that you're now ready to move your body towards first base to throw. And it's just watching Derek Jeter growing up. And so when you watch how people can move, there's just something beautiful about that. And that the timing of cheer, the ability to have all of these people come together to create the pyramid, to do the stunts, there's just
so many moving parts.
It's just really, and when you can, and you don't have to be someone that knows the X's and O's of every move and what they're doing to appreciate and just see the aesthetic beauty of what they're doing and how hard of work that must have been. You're seeing the tip of the iceberg. You're not seeing all the hard work that went into that and all the falls.
All the times the pyramid crashed on top of itself over and over.
It is truly, I mean, obviously, I debate this sometimes, the value of it, but the hit zero, I got to get that hit zero pin. I got to, do this, but it's amazing that these kids ever achieve that, to be honest with you, because you think of all the moving parts in a routine. I mean, there's thousands of them, and if one part moves the wrong way, then that can have an effect on all the places coming after it.
We had a team this season. It was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. They have been so good. They've been hitting every competition. They have had 0 deductions, and then they had a pyramid that moves 2.5 mats, which is approximately 15 feet. It travels 15 feet, and I think somebody stepped on a shoelace and got their tripped, and the whole thing just down on the ground.
It happens. Mm-hmm. It happens.
That was one of the terms
heartbreaking.
Hearing hit zero, and then it made sense to me. It's okay, you have 0 deductions, but it doesn't mean the routine you did was, I guess, more challenging. You're thinking like figure skating, if you do a triple axel versus a double, then that's a harder piece. So that was the first thing I had to learn was the hit zero. And I'm I saw, and then when they throw them up in the air, I'm that girl looked like she hit 0 gravity for a second, but I don't know about any deductions. But it just, and they're really just competing against the rubric, I guess, instead of it's not like this bring it on of you're competing against another team. You're really just competing against yourself and being the best version of yourself.
Yeah, it's not comparative. In the early days, there was a lot of comparative scoring.
I prefer that. We get into the conversation of scoring all the time, Jay. And Casey and I, we agree on a lot of things, actually. Surprisingly, we agree on many things when it comes to scoring. We are on opposite sides of that fence.
Oh, all right. See, I'm bringing up all these landmines. This is good.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, to me, comparative score, it's great when you can do it correctly and when you have, top quality judges. And once again, no knock on the judges. I mean, it's a weekend job for most of them. They don't have the time to, and they don't get paid enough to make it a year-round job. So to be able to, and many of them are not in the gyms teaching the skill. So they don't know that skill A is infinitely harder than skill B. They just know what they look like. They don't know that, hey, it took this team 6 months to get this and it took this other team 6 minutes to get it. So, that's where I think with the growth of cheerleading and having so many teams and different things like that, I think the rubric has helped in that. And, for back in my coaching days, I wanted to know pretty much what I was going to score before I ever got there. That was my goal. Man, we're going to do well. I didn't want it to be up to one person sitting in there to decide.
I wanted to go.
I like your dance better. Boom.
I wanted to go to the competition, and I wanted to blow everybody's minds with something really cool and unique and fabulous that they've never seen before and beat Casey because I came with something really cool and fabulous that you're like, wow, that is really awesome. 10s all across the board. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's the argument, it's like the school of thought. Do you want to have all the boxes that you need to check and you do that to the best of your ability? Or do you want to come and be creative and get outside of the box and do unique things that drive up the score? I would like to see the score go back to a little bit of a combination of both. We've gotten so shifted to the rubric that like there's not a whole lot of room for, but I will say when a team does somehow manage to like squeak in some crazy creativity in the difficult checklist that they're trying to build, it shines pretty brightly because it's hard to do. I mean, there's so many things you got to check off the list that it's hard to do anything else.
And the cool thing is, if you at the highest level, which I think it should be different at the highest level, at the world's level, it is comparative. So, you make it to Worlds, and that score sheet is a different score sheet. And some people argue, why are we on a different score sheet? Well, you're at the pinnacle. You're at the very top, and they have the best judges, and they have more of them is the thing, too. Like, at the Worlds, they have more judges to be able to make sure that they are overlooking that subjectivity piece. So,
I mean, that makes sense. I did a lot of umpiring for baseball, and when I'm doing like the youngest youth level, it'd just be me out there covering a whole field. But then if you're covering like the American Legion Championship, all of a sudden there's six. It's a 6-man crew. There's one for every base. There's one for So I think that.
Okay, so I have to know what's the worst crowd, slur you've gotten to, like, what's the meanest thing the crowd has said to you as an ump?
The worst thing that ever happened, there were two situations. One was like a Father's Day weekend, like 8U baseball game. I mean, these kids can barely stand up straight. And you have to make a big strike zone. You have to do all these things. And there was like a play at the plate or whatever. And like generally the rule is if, the ball beats the guy there, then he's out, and I made a call at the plate. This dad just got up and came on the field, started yelling at me irrationally. I'm like, I have to throw this dad out on Father's Day in front of his kid because he'd crossed the threshold of being reasonable and instead of wanting to have a conversation, just wanted to yell. And it's amazing when people can let themselves, something snaps in them. Like, this is all they had. They needed this moment because everything else in their life is not going their way. I had that when I was coaching, and there was a discussion of sometimes I coached school ball forever, but in the summers, all the kids that maybe I cut, I would coach the rec league. The lowest Babe Ruth level. And sometimes they'd let us borrow kids like pitchers from the higher level. If they weren't getting work at the higher level, they'd let them come down a level so that they could pitch. And I ended up getting a kid that somebody thought was really good. And again, they're just, the guy's throwing a fit over who has the team. And so I think when people get irrational, that's when you're just like, man, you're a display for all these people and you got to act a certain way. So it's on my end as the umpire or the coach, I had to just keep my calm and keep my cool and let that person say just their
unload.
Piece.
Yep.
Yeah. Or, I've had that with parents. I was coach. I had a kid that played for me in school ball. He played for me for that rec league, and he was rude to me. He made a comment. He told me what I should do as a coach. And so I took him out. I said, listen, I can't play you now because it would look like to your teammates that I'm listening to you and you're the kid, I'm the coach. So I sat him down, and the mom and dad came over to me after and were just screaming at me for the long, and I'm just like, what? I'm teaching your kid a lesson. I promise you, I don't have a kid on this team. I didn't even have a kid at that point in my life, but it's just, parents get so irrational or what they think's happening in their mind versus what's really happening.
Agree. And I find a lot of times too that they want those lessons, they want their kids to learn those lessons.
They totally would have said they wanted what happened to them.
But if it was another kid. Yes. But with their kid, it's hard, as a parent, it's hard to watch your kid be hurting. And I mean, we go through this all the time, my husband and I with our son, I feel like, and it's hard. It's hard to sit back and choke it down and just this is the lesson that he needs to learn. And we just need to stand by and let him learn it. That's a hard thing to do.
We have a rule in our gym to help combat this that, it's from years and years of experience, but it's called 24-hour rule. So unless it's a 911 emergency, then if you're upset about something, you're supposed to wait 24 hours before you speak with the coach.
Mine was 48 hours.
And if they actually do that, because that's the thing, we try to explain this in parents' meetings because, we want our kids happy. We want them having fun. We want all of those things. But the reality is sometimes they sit there for 2 hours and they're upset because they got moved in the dance. And there may be a very good reason that they got moved in the dance. Hey, we shifted formations around and we're not going to run you across the floor to get to your favorite spot, you know. But they sit there for 2 hours with a smile on their face, and then they hit the car and all that emotion comes out, and it's just they dump it on mom. And then mom instantly grabs that emotion and takes it right back into the building to release it back to the coach. And, you know, if we can explain to people, hey, this is going to happen, and that's the thing. And if you can give it 24 hours and have a really good talk about it, and get yourself in a position to have a good talk, then we encourage you to come back and we can explain. So
I learned that in, I think it was like 2000 it might have even been 1999. I was coaching at Clayton High School, and the AD at the school, who was also the football coach, his name was Gary Fowler, and he had the 48-hour rule, and I have used that like my whole life. And for myself too, like when I have an issue with my kids, if I'm going to say anything, I'm like, okay, I got to wait 48 hours, which I have only, I'm trying to think. I think one time, both my kids, my kids are 17 and 19, and only one of them is like still playing sports. So only one time in all of those years have I actually had a meeting with a coach.
Now, Stacy's kids have gone like without lunch for 2 days because she's got to wait 48 hours because they didn't have lunch. But, you know, but hey, other than that, it usually works.
It's so not true, Casey. It's so not true.
I coached middle school baseball when I first started for years, and that we would have 72 kids come out, and, you know, you got just one coach, and we only had one field for 7th, 8th, and 9th to share. So, like, you know, I try to keep 15, 16 kids, which was still an obscene number in my opinion. But, I mean, you got to cut 50-some kids, and that's like tough. Heartbreaking. That's another heartbreaking thing because, you know, these kids are coming out, pouring their heart out, and having those conversations every time. I would work so hard in the 3 days we had tryouts to learn all 72 names, make sure I had something to say to them, and then have those conversations. So, like, the third day when you made those cuts, like, you know, that third and fourth day, you're just, you know, bringing kids in and giving them like little one-on-one interviews. But then at the high school level, they would give everybody a number, and then they would post the numbers on the locker.
Everybody standing at the door looking at.
Yep. And then the coach had an open door policy that if you wanted to come discuss why you weren't on that list, then you could come talk to him. But I always thought it was good to be proactive.
So, Jay, back in the day, if you back up 25 years ago, all the local cheerleading gyms, they would do that same thing, number, and they'd post it on the door. And I'll never forget this. We would, you know, everybody kind of do theirs on a different day. And then we would sneak around to the competitive gyms. And gosh, this is so funny. I never forget this. So our all-star director, Roger, now, and we've been together, you know, over almost 25 years working together. But at one time we were at competitive gyms, but we were friends. So me and a couple of my guys were going to sneak over to his gym because we wanted to see who from our team was trying out at his gym. And we're literally hiding in the bushes at his gym to watch people come up and look at the number. Well, they were hiding inside and saw us, and then they were like, hey, come in here. And then we all sat in there, like watching people come. And we're like, oh, that's our kid. No, that's it. Like, and then we're such and such. Well, they're going your way. You know, it was good times.
There's such an excitement on all sides. You know, like I remember as a coach, like, man, I really enjoyed it. I just was so excited by the prospect of a new team and like getting things ready and practice plans. And, you know, there's just a buzz around it. If you really love it, and it's what makes your heart sing. And, you know, I really loved coaching too. I didn't know how much I was going to love that, but the position when I first started teaching 21 years ago, they had just started the middle school teams. So it was like very exciting to like just get to be around that buzz and that energy, and the kids are taking it so serious. And
I think it's so fun to see, you know, the older teams, you know, the world's level teams, like obviously they're phenomenal and they're fantastic and they're fun to watch. But as a coach, just everything that you're saying, Jay, I feel like there is nothing like the moment that a kid, like you see it when it clicks in their brain, or they just get it, or they got a new skill, or they've worked really hard. I mean, I had a girl, you know, I think she worked for 3 years to get a back handspring. And when that kid turned over her back handspring in year 3 of never giving up, I mean, the entire place went nuts for her. Like it was, a basket toss that went through the roof. Like it was just such a cool moment. And I do like, there's something about that. I feel like with coaches and kids
make
in
you
sports,
tear up, and then they'll make the parents cry because they're like, oh my God, I've spent $36,000 for her to get this back handspring. What's the next skill going to cost?
But what they paid for though was that kid's determination for 3 years to never give up, and then to be a part of them achieving that moment. And like that, I don't know. To me, it will help. Like that for sure helped that child in her life know that she can persevere through some tough times, because she, it's hard. It's hard. I know it's just a skill. It's just a back handspring, but in that moment in their life, it's hard. And it's hard to see all of your friends continuing to pass you by and not be able to participate with them because they're moving on and they're getting skills faster. But but you're not quitting, and you're still in there giving it all you got over and over and over again.
We talk about that all the time.
Tremendous stuff.
The life skills. What she did at 9, what does that translate to her life when she's 30? Because it does. We joke about, and plenty of parents, and I'm sure, Jay, you've done a skit about it or something, joking about, man, this skill cost X. I see that a lot from cheer parents. But the reality is, oftentimes it's exactly what Stacy said. There's so much value to that because you learn that perseverance, you learn that hard work, that dedication. And, when you're 30 and fighting for a job or fighting for your marriage or fighting for, your family, that
when you're adulting just in general.
Yeah.
Right. I think I'd seen a talk and I read a book on grit, and I think there was a woman named Angelique Duckworth had done some study where she had gone to I think West Point, and she was trying to put a nose on what was the thing that had so many people quitting after their, first semester at West Point. And what was the difference between the ones who stayed and the ones who didn't? And she was trying to do a study on it. And ultimately her came down to what she called grit, that kind of perseverance, everything we're talking about here. And we've actually adopted with our girls a similar kind of philosophy of something she said, which was if you get into an activity, whatever it is, you have to do it for at least 2 full seasons before you can stop, because you really have to give it that extra opportunity, that extra chance, because you have to go through the low points to get to the high points. So it's I think that's such an important thing. My 9-year-old's doing ice skating now as her extra activity.
That's tough, I'm sure.
She's terrible. It is the hardest half hour of my life. I watched her and I'm just oh my goodness, this is not for her. And we started getting her it was only once a week for a half hour, and it's a group. So we started doing individual ones, and I didn't let her know how my feelings were, but she had my wife send a video. I was on the road last weekend and she got an extra lesson. And then when she got to the group lessons, she was finally starting to do it. And you're just oh, wow. She's been at it for 12 weeks. And it was just man, and sometimes it just takes so long, but you have to stay in it long enough. Yeah. And had she pulled out after that first 6-week session, she never would have gotten this far. And it doesn't bother her. And I think because we've made her do deck hockey 2 seasons, baseball 2, because she's had all these things that I can see it in her head now, where she could have easily said after the first one, I don't want to go anymore. But she really, her attitude was so much better, I noticed, because she's seen that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I may have a 6th grade son that gets to do 2 seasons of 6th grade. So trying to, because of math, come on, dude, come on, stick with it.
I mean, you're gonna get it. The falling has to happen. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Is we want so much to things to be sword in the stone. We want to just be born for this, and it should come out easy the first time. And
that's not reality.
It's not reality, and it's so hard because we read so many fairy tales and we read so many things.
There are so few kids that are just I call them phenoms. Now they're out there, and it's a thing. And I've been blessed to be able to witness a couple in cheerleading. Heck, I was blessed to be able to witness one in football. Actually, 2. I used to say a pretty cool thing of we literally had the 2 number 1 and number 2 football picks literally lived within 10 miles of my house. Justin Fields and what's his name at Jaguars? I'm drawing a blank. Who's quarterback for Jacksonville?
Trevor?
Yes, Trevor Lawrence. Yep. Yeah. So literally both of them are playing. And you would go, and I would go and I'd watch these games. So Justin Fields went to my kid's high school, and I'd watch these games, and like I remember my wife saying, like, he's not even running hard. And I'm like, yes, he is. Like, he's so much better than everybody else that it doesn't look like, because, you know, he'd be running down the field just leaving everybody, and it looked like he was walking, you know. Yeah. And but, you know, don't get me wrong. The kid worked hard. He trained hard, all that. But his God-given ability, he was just a phenom, you know. And there's just not many of them. You know, most of us are normal folks, and everything we get is earned. And then even sometimes of that, you know, I think the cool thing about coaching kids is, you know, everybody's got a ceiling, and we can't see that ceiling. If we could see that ceiling, more people would quit. You know, if you knew that, hey, I can only get to a layout, I'm never going to be able to throw a double full, people may quit. I don't know. But, you know, that's the thing of these kids and parents, and understanding that it's going to take hard work. It's going to take dedication, drive, grit that you mentioned. It's going to take all those things, and you still may not achieve what you perceive as your highest level. But it's okay, because, like, referring back to what Stacy was talking about, all the, you know, it's
you
more
wouldn't
about
have got as far
journey.
as you got either. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the journey and versus the destination. Like, yeah, we want the destination, but we want to get to that end point. But at the same time, is that doesn't take away from all that it took to get there. You know, those were important moments. Those were team building moments. Those camaraderie that happened. There was, you know, relationships were built. Like, there was just so many cool things that happened there that maybe is not on the deduction sheet, but is definitely.
So, think about a season of cheerleading. In the entire season, we competed for, I don't know, 20 minutes. You know, for the whole season.
So wild. Yeah.
But
that is pretty crazy.
Right. Yeah. But you didn't practice for 20 minutes. You didn't spend time in the car as a family driving to practice. You didn't spend time on the airplane flying to the like all of those hours. That's where it's happening. That's where the magic is happening, you know, and that's a thing of, like, and I've seen that, you know, I've seen some teams that may not have the best competition experience, but man, those group of kids and those group of parents, they bond, and they're together, and they're in it, and they're loving it. And then I've seen the opposite of the team that wins everything, and they can't wait for the season to be over because they're over it. So, but, you know, it's a long journey, you know, and that's the thing. I think that's what I love about cheerleading so much. It's the ultimate team sport. Like, we're going to put a bunch of you together and a bunch of families together, and y'all are going to spend a year together practicing 6, 8, 9 hours a week, you know, and then we're going to get on an airplane and fly across the country and compete for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's really something when you say it out loud.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you know, that's very, I can relate to it very much with comedy, because like that, like for me, like I drove 5 hours round trip for 10 minutes on stage, you know, so it's like I can appreciate. Yeah, I can appreciate that, and I can appreciate that. Like, oh, I worked a lot harder on writing those jokes and going to those open mics and doing all that. And so, like, I think I also have a deeper appreciation because of how my life shifted in the last 5 or 6 years, as well. So it's
so tell us, how did you get into comedy? Like, what made you A, want to go there, and then B, like, you know, why and how did you get into it and all the things?
Yeah, I feel like, so, you know, I moved a lot as a kid. You know, you joke a lot that, like, you know, I went to 7 different schools between like kindergarten and senior year. So, you know, like they'd be like, oh, you know, why'd you move so much? And I'd be like, oh, at first I would lie, because, you know, I tell people you're poor. You just tell them I was like a military brat. And the one time the kid's like, oh, yeah, what branch? And I said Army. And then he said, what division? And I was like, ooh, I had not thought this lie through. I was like, division? Salvation. I was like,
got the bell. Got a lot of money for Christmas.
Yeah, if they raised the rent, we deployed, you know? So, but yeah, like just it was a lot of moving. But so I think you develop humor to like break tension. That's what humor is. Laughter comes from unexpected results or shattered expectations. So, if you can kind of disarm people or, make them laugh, then they're not going to dig deeper in other stuff too, So sometimes I was using it as a defense mechanism to not talk about some other stuff. So it's like one of those things to fit in that I think just naturally was something I developed, but I hadn't thought about doing it in a zone. I mean, I did acting growing up. Like that was one of my activities. I did tap, I did dance, I did singing, I did, all of that stuff. And I always loved getting, if I got like a comedic role in a play or something. I think the first time I ever really did something with it was I was really good at reenacting the Matt Foley SNL skit from Bob Odenkirk, where it's like Chris Farley was pretending to be this motivational speaker talking to I think it was like David Spade was in it. It's like from the 90s. And so
Chris Farley was one of my favorites, dude. Oh my gosh.
My husband loved Chris Farley.
So we had a thing at school where the school I was teaching at, where there was a faculty talent show every 4 years for like the NHS, the National Honor Society. And somebody came in, one of the other teachers was like, "Hey, we should do that Matt Foley skit." I'm like, "You mean I should do that Matt Foley skit?" He's like, "Well, I'll be the director." And so we got together and we actually performed a little skit of it. And we just did exactly the skit. And I did full suit on. I did the whole thing. I fell through the coffee table. I actually bruised my ribs and had to go to urgent care after.
Oh my God.
Because the mic pack from the lav mic was in my front breast pocket, and then I had so much adrenaline, I overshot the jump, so I landed on one of the styrofoam legs that they had cut, but it just impacted right into that mic and hit me. And like you could see in the video, where I think I black out for like a nanosecond when I hit, and then I just pop up and like finish it, But you can hear my voice cracking a little bit as I'm finishing it. And I just had so much, and like the eruption, I didn't know any kids were even going to know it. And I had forgot, there's YouTube. Of course, even if they didn't know it, it was funny. And then they went and watched the original after. But like it got such a great response, and it was such a high to hear all these people laughing. And one of the gym teachers, phys ed, I should say, one of the phys ed teachers was like, when he retired, they interviewed him for the school paper, and they said, "Hey, what's something you're never going to forget about your time here?" And he's like, "Oh, when Mr. Yoder did the Matt Foley skit." So for his retirement, I rewrote the skit to be the same character, but motivating him into retirement. And that was the first time I had taken like a stencil and kind of made it my own. And that was the first time I like created comedy. And like, I don't know, and then fast forward to the pandemic, things got really tough. I had extra roles in schools, I was really good at technology. So even though I was a language teacher, I was helping all the Flintstones meet the Jetsons during like COVID. Preach. And how to do all of this stuff.
I'm not that guy.
I got burnt out. I was just lighting myself on fire to keep everybody else warm. And it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't as noble as I thought it was. I didn't get an extra dime to my name for it. But I just kind of went into like helping everybody mode, and I didn't help myself anymore. And, it was just a tough time for me and my family. My daughter with autism was having all sorts of trouble with understanding the world she was in as a 5-year-old who wasn't quite verbal yet. So like, it was just a lot going on, and I needed recess. And so my wife and I's last date before the shutdown was at an indoor comedy club. Her and I always bonded over comedy. And then that guy opened up an outdoor club during the pandemic 5 minutes from our house, and he had open mic night every Tuesday. So we had my mom living with us in our bubble. So that was our night every Tuesday. We would go out for like 3 hours and watch stand-up comedy at this open mic. And I just said to her after like 3 months of watching it, like, I think I could do that. And that's how I got myself to like set boundaries at school. Because if I was writing or doing comedy, I wasn't thinking about my emails. I wasn't thinking about, there's always an email to answer. There's always a lesson that could be better. There's always something you could be doing. But I needed somebody to like force me to get away from it. And comedy was the only thing that adequately got me away from it so that I could protect myself,
So you're full-time comedy now?
So as of 2 months ago, last Thursday, I resigned after 21 years of teaching. I was trying to make both worlds work. But I started getting a lot of cool opportunity. I go speak at schools a lot. I do a lot of keynotes about my own adverse childhood experiences and how I use levity and humor. And so I go around to schools and talk. And I also tour with a group called Board Teachers. I just got back from we were in Kentucky and Indiana and Ohio. And next month I'm with them in Minnesota. I leave for Alaska tomorrow for 4 shows up in Anchorage. So that's
just pretty awesome.
I just made a decision that I think a lot of people thought I was crazy, but I just wanted to be creative, and I was already doing all of these things, and I started to make a decent living from it. And, people say, well, what about the pension? I'm like, well, I put 20 years in, there's going to be something there for me. But like, if I stayed 15 more years, Darth Vader would be collecting that pension. Right now I'm Anakin, and I want to stay Anakin. I don't want to go into that I could just feel the toxicity, like, eating me up, and it was just killing the creativity in me. And I was just teaching all day, and then I'm out at clubs at night, and like in the afternoon I'm trying to be a dad and go to the activities, and it was just too much. So something had to give. And
that's really cool, man. That's admirable that you're certainly not an old man by any means, but you've been doing something for 21 years, and to be able to hey, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to step away, and I'm going to try something different,
Good for you.
And I think it's really cool. The comedy piece is really cool, but also like getting out there and being a keynote speaker and sharing your life. Like, I don't know if you got a video of that, but I'd love to hear it.
Totally. Me too.
Because, there's times where we need a keynote. So
actually, if you do have a video of it, share it with me, and we'll put it in the show notes. That way other people can watch it too.
Yeah, so I enjoy doing that, and that's been a lot of fun. I run comedy schools now too. So I work for the oldest comedy school in New York City called the American Comedy Institute, which was kind of funny because when I decided to do comedy, I got a book off of Amazon. It was called Mastering Stand-Up, and it was a really easy read. And then I found out from somebody that guy did workshops online during the pandemic, and where you actually got to work with him one-on-one. I'm like, oh, this is great. I took one of his workshops. And then after that, I now am his right-hand man. I'm his director of operations for his comedy school. And so, like, that's one of the big things that pays the bills for me is I do all the invoicing, and I'm starting to teach for them now too. And then my local club out of Philly at Soul Joel's in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, I run the comedy school there. We just had class last night. So it's like I still getting to teach. I'm still filling my cup up.
That's amazing.
And now I'm empowering other people to do things that they're scared to do, whether it's a bucket lister or somebody that, one of these women last night in the class was our 3rd class together. And she just in the beginning was just like, this has been this has just been such a positive experience. She's like, as an adult, I haven't been in a room full of other adults that are just fully supporting each other and having fun. And she's like, it's just so refreshing. And like that warmed my heart because like, that's the kind of environment, we all hope to create when we're working with other people, whether it's athletes or whatever, like, to know that I can kind of create that for people, it is a lot of fun. So it's like, whether I'm making them laugh or whether I'm helping them help other people laugh, it fills my cup up. It just makes me feel alive, and it just lets me know I'm on the right track. And if I'm able to do that and feed my family, then great. Then that's what I want to do with the rest of my life.
That's really cool.
Congratulations. Truly. That's
Very
amazing.
Cool.
I love it.
And it's another story, I like to talk about this. It's affected my family. It's affected, one of my sons especially. But, during COVID, it was such a trying time for all of us. But then it changed so many people, and it gave us an opportunity to try something different. It forced us to try something different. And like I said, unfortunately, people passed away. It was a rough time, but a lot of great came out of it as well. So pretty cool to hear your story.
I started writing. I feel like you're speaking directly to me.
Yeah, Stacy, she wrote the Pioneers of Cheer, and I think version 2, the Pioneers of Dad Cheer Comedy. Like you're going to be on the cover of that sucker. So.
Yeah, what an honor it's been. The Cheer Dad thing that was so wild to me because I've been doing, at first I wasn't even doing teacher comedy. I was just doing comedy of my own life, like telling all these stories about my life that I felt like I wasn't able to share before, that now I share. And so it's like, that was really, for me, empowering. And then, it shifted into doing teacher comedy and talking about the stuff happened in the classroom. And then I took my daughter she went to the Pop Warner Nationals down in Charlotte, and it was just me, and my wife made me take her by myself. And I was like, that's brave of you. I was like,
wait, you trust me with children? I'm a teacher for 21 years. Like, I can't take care of kids.
There's something about the logistics of cheer and cheer moms that scare me so much that I was just like, I have so much fear of this. I was like, the one time I brought the wrong bow, I couldn't put the hair up in the high ponytail, or I worked so hard and watched so many YouTube tutorials. And then I get there and one of the other moms just like, ugh. And then in 3 seconds, like Superman in a phone booth, she just made it happen. I'm like, do you know, you talk about those skills that some people get in 6 seconds and other people take 6 months. I watched that woman nail that high ponytail in 6 seconds. And I spent 6 hours crying over my daughter's hair.
Man, I understand. I was doing the math last night. I'm like, my kids have been my 2 daughters. This is year 21 for us in cheerleading. So, and the last one for actually competing. They're still involved in the business, but man, 21 years of cheerleading, and I can't do hair. I couldn't do cheer hair any better 21 years later than I could 21 years ago. So.
So I was like, I brought her to Pop Warner, and then as a special needs dad, I'm so used to always being with her at all times. But that was one of the nice things about the Cheerability Squad and a lot of the special needs sports that she does. The goal of them is so that the parents can just be parents for once. And so I was going to get on the elevator with them as they went to warm-ups, and this woman just looked at me and she's like, "Sir, this is for athletes only." And I'm like,
Great.
I was an athlete. I was a 3-time JV All-Star. Are you kidding me? It was like a captain of the bowling team over here. So, so because she went and had to do that separate from me, and she wasn't performing, so there wasn't I could go watch her yet. I just went outside and started making videos about her telling me I wasn't an athlete, and every time I made a video, somebody it just initially picked up more so than any teacher video I had ever done, and there was it was just fun to say, I had these thoughts and other people related to them. So what better?
They are very relatable for sure.
I
was cracking up about so many of them. I watch and I'm like, oh my God, this is so true. And I think for Casey and I both, we have the coach perspective, the gym owner perspective. We are parents as well. Yeah. So we kind of see all the angles, and try to keep it real. Some things kind of have to be the way that they are, unfortunately, but we also understand the parents' perspective too. And you're talking about waiting for the awards and the time that is, it just feels like it's such a long, it doesn't matter how fast the event producer tries to get the awards out. It inevitably feels like it's an eternity no matter what.
No, yeah. They say 5 minutes and you're like, no, that's going to be, right. That's going to be.
The kids are so excited, loving the experience. And they're on the stage, dancing, doing the church clap. And we just want to go home. Yeah.
Yes. It's so true. And it's just it is. Some of them were painful. And then I've had some that were amazing. We did Globals in AC and they had that well-oiled machine. They had all of the good DJ mix before the show and everybody's dancing and having fun. And then boom, the dance crew came out and did their thing real quick, just a 2-minute number. And then I joked that the guy looked like Stanley Tucci from Hunger Games came out and he was just but he was so pristinely dressed. His speech was so eloquent. He didn't miss a syllable. And it was so heartfelt. And hey, athletes, it's because all these parents here that you're here, thank them, say thank you. Very endearing.
We do that as well.
But it was so quick. It was just exactly what needed to happen and nothing less, nothing more. And in and out. And I'm like, oh, wow, this was great. This was a whole different ball game.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find you, Jay, if they want to watch more of your stuff or learn more about you or find out where you're at live? Where can they
learn about
check
this guy
out?
I'm
Jay Yoder Comedy on all of the platforms. That's JAY, and then the good Amish last name, YODER. And that's, whether it's YouTube or Instagram is probably my biggest, and then TikTok. I have a website, jyodercomedy.com. But yeah, I mean, I perform a lot of comedy all over. I've even done a lot of fun like purse bingos for like, organizations like cheer and football where they'll have like a purse bingo and I'll come in and be the MC and call bingo and have fun for the afternoon. And so I love doing all of those kind of things. So, and I'm hoping to do more cheer, events. Like I'm going down to Worlds. I believe I'm going to be down there. Whatever one's April 24th and 5th. I believe it's Worlds.
Yep.
I'm going to be down for that one, hanging out, doing some content. I like to interview cheer parents and have some fun with that. And then I'm hoping to do some shows, just cheer dad kind of shows, like get some parents out and find where these gyms are maybe in the off season and come out. So if any organization wants to do a comedy night, I would love to be a part of that too. So
I like that little Stingray comedy night. Maybe we'll have you out for a showcase or something like that.
I have a Jersey one just contact me. So we're setting something up for this summer out there in Edison, New Jersey. So yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I have another comedian who also is a cheerleading mom, and we did a show together recently. I totally forgot she was a cheer mom. And then she did this hysterical bit in her set about being a cheer mom. And I'm like, oh, you and I need to like take this on the road and do like, so her and I are working out some details to talk with some clubs nearby and see if they'll give us the room for the day. So yeah, so I'm going to keep riding the wave and just having so much fun with it.
All right, guys, I think it's about time for my dad joke. Are you guys ready?
We're ready. We are ready.
This is a pretty good one here. What generation is Forrest Gump? What generation is Forrest Gump?
I mean, I feel like he's probably a traditionalist, but it's a joke, so that's not the answer.
Yeah, peas and carrots. No, I don't know.
Gen A. Gen A. I don't do a good Forrest Gump impression, so I think Jay. I know you're the. I know you're the. There you go. That's much better. Much better. Real quick, can you give us a little in a van down by the river? Right. I mean, I need some of that this morning.
Yeah, I can give you something like. So as your father probably told you, my name is Matt Foley, and I am a motivational speaker. Now you're probably wondering, hey, Matt, how can I get back on the right track? Well, Dad, I'm going to need you to go ahead and shut your yapper.
That was far superior than the dad joke. So that smoked the dad joke today.
Honestly, it's my favorite thing to do. I love it.
I have one impression I can do. One impression. You guys want to guess what it might be?
Yeah, let's guess. You do it, we'll guess.
Okay, I can't do the
Kevin
whole thing.
Kevin Brubaker not paying attention in a meeting.
Right. Well, I could do that too. Hold on. Here we go. This is that. But I can't do the whole thing because there's some expletives in it, but I'll just bleep myself out. Okay, here we go. Picture this. A little doe idea goes walking along a clear crystal brook, and bam! And a beeping bullet hits him right in the head. Now he acts scared. Do you think he would give a beep what the beep was wearing?
Dead on balls accurate. It's an industry.
Love it.
Literally my favorite movie. Honestly, I know every single line of that movie. How's the Chinese food? Love it. That my cousin Vinny.
Yes. Yes. Marissa Tomei. Casey, did you know what I was doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is like mechanic. His father was a mechanic.
Mm-hmm. That is something.
My brother's brother was a mechanic. My uncle's brother was a mechanic. My grandfather before that on my mother's side was a mechanic.
Your family is obviously very qualified.
I find that movie on in my witching hour. When I wake up at 3:00 and I'm doing a little scrolling on the TV, I'm like, there it is, my cousin. And
I love it. It's like that and Shawshank Redemption are like the two classic. Like that time of day, it's like either one of those two is always on.
Yep.
I do love that movie.
Hey, well, we had a huge comedy hour here. Great job,
we took
guys.
We went a little bit off the beaten path.
I'm not even going to blow it with my impression because I don't have any. So I'll leave that to you guys. But hey, for the rest of you, we love our dad jokes, and obviously we love all of our comedy. But make sure send us your favorite dad joke. We'd love to give you a shout out, and you can submit them on our new website, themotusedge.com, or DM on our social media at Join Motus. And right now, we're going to take just a moment and tell you guys a little bit about the Prime Alliance.
This season, your journey doesn't just end, it finals. The Prime Alliance unites leading event producers to create something big. MotUS members get 15% off all Prime Alliance events and the chance to earn bids to the One Prime Finals in Virginia Beach, Sandusky, Ohio, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Orlando, Florida. Experience something new. Celebrate your season in unforgettable places. Learn more at theprimealliance.com. That's theprimealliance.com. Interested in attending the One Prime Finals? You can learn more about the event opportunities at theoneprimefinals.com. That's TheOnePrimeFinals.com.
All right. I think we have a question from a listener. You ready, Jay?
Wait, Casey, you're skipping. Wait, before we do our questions.
I skipped rapid fire, didn't I?
Yeah, rapid fire. So we do these rapid fire questions, Jay, but Casey does them really slow, just FYI. So
all right, well, yeah, that's good. I could do some extra extended time. That's fine.
Yeah, there's nothing rapid about my fire here, so it's because we like to stop and talk about it. So anyway, here we go on a rapid fire. Would you rather have great hair or great teeth?
Ooh. Great teeth. I think great teeth. Yeah, I think that's a lot easier to like hide the head, whether you're doing a bandana or something like that. But the teeth, you're going to notice that.
I totally agree with that.
I say that because I have this one here where I've had to go to the dentist because I chipped one here. And so every time I'm doing a video or something, I'm like, oh, there it is. It's sitting there. I'm like, you could fix your hair. You could play with that. You could do stuff.
Put a hat on, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Camping or luxury hotel?
My heart wants to say camping. Like in my heart, I have this core memory from when I was a kid, when I was like this short little curly blonde haired kid skipping rocks. We had this old VHS tape and I barely remember them. I only remember watching the tape. I don't remember being a part of it. But so I just have this nostalgia of like camping with my family when I was really, really young. But like, man, nothing beats a luxury hotel. I just want to be comfortable. Glamping. I want to do the glamping. Do you see these places where they actually combine the two?
So I have seen that, and I was I was thinking as you were talking, and that's why this isn't rapid fire, because I think, and then I've got to talk about it. But I am not in between on this. So I am like I love to backpack and be out in the backcountry, and it is me and my backpack and my tent and a couple buddies, and there is no luxury to that. There's not a good night's sleep. You're eating crappy food, but like you are one with nature. And I also love a luxury hotel. So I don't like the in between. Like, man, put me out there in the wilderness in the dirt and grime, or put me in the Ritz. So
yeah. I think 20 years ago I would have been with you on the like going out in the woods, but now I'm in a level where I'm like I like my luxuries.
My daughter has recently discovered Survivor, and so she has been watching. I don't know. I think she's on like season 5, but she has been watching it like obsessively. Like I caught her doing her hair in the bathroom watching Survivor on her phone, and I'm like, you have a problem, you need to settle down.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I'm like, why are you so fascinated? Like, do you want to go? I mean, not that would be like hardcore camping, but she was like, oh no, I would never would never go out and like stay in the wilderness. Like never.
I'm intrigued with Naked and Afraid, because like that seems.
It would start Survivor, but I feel like you would end up Naked and Afraid.
I've never seen Naked and Afraid.
It is like, I mean, it's something. It's pretty wild what they go through, and then because a lot of the places they get into is 80 degrees in the afternoon, and then they're freezing at night. Because they don't have any clothes, and it's a shelter they built, and it's two strangers that are naked and having to cuddle together. And my wife is like, I wouldn't let you do that.
It's wild, the shows that they'll put on now where they're kind of recreating what that would look like. It's wild to me. It scares me because I don't think I have the skills to survive those scenarios.
I was going to say it does. I've been watching some of the Survivor with her, and I'm like, wow, I would definitely not survive. Like if I needed to, like I don't know how to survive. I need to probably learn that.
I don't have that skill set either, but I've done a fair amount of backpacking, literally in the backcountry, and there's nothing. And the thing that keeps drawing me back to that are the emotional high. Like, I love the emotional roller coaster because I may be climbing this mountain for 5 straight hours because it's 5,000 feet up and it is just strenuous and it's horrible and it's terrible. And I'm like cussing myself. And why did I choose to do this? And then I come to the top and there's this beautiful vista. And then it's like, oh my goodness, look at God. Look what God did. Look at God's glory here, and then 30 minutes later, I'm cussing myself again. And like, I don't know, but I love that emotional roller coaster. I love the fact of like, man, I'm going to build my house every day, sleep in it for a little while, tear it down and move it and rebuild it, and just those.
When you said 5 hours of climbing, I started hyperventilating. Is you're like 5.5 hours?
Same.
Like, an escalator. Build an escalator.
I think about warm showers and cheeseburgers, and that, like, I know that if I survive this, those are somewhere in the future.
About right now. That's what.
And this is our rapid fire question, Jay. We're on question number 2. There's 5 of these.
All right, let's roll.
So let's keep it rolling. Let's keep going rapid. This is a great one right here for you. Shaving or waxing?
You know what? I have never waxed, but I watched the videos.
I'm shocked by that.
I'll be honest. I feel like there's a part of me that, like, the ripping of the hair, like, there's something about that I don't think. I think, like, if it happens fast. And it wasn't like, what was that movie, 40-Year-Old Virgin, where, like,
I was just going to say, Kelly Clarkson.
That's right. A part of me is like, there's a part of me that says, like, oh, I wonder if it would be like, if they do it right and it's just like, boom, like it like pops it out. Because I've had one where, like, I've caught a hair and, like, it's pulled out and like at first there's this, like, feeling of, like, intense, like, pain, but then there's like then it's like climbing a 5.5 hours up and then you see the vista. There's this moment where the pain turns into, like, oh, it's kind of like a feeling. So I think I can understand why people would do the waxing. But I feel like there's nothing better than a good shave, like going to a barber who, like, shaves you properly and does all of that. I like that
hot
too.
towel. Yeah.
I don't really know that experience.
You should try it. You should try it. It's great.
I do know the waxing, but I've never been to the barber and been shaved.
So my 10-year anniversary, I surprised my wife and we renewed our vows. She had no idea. It was a complete surprise, but I wanted to get myself looking right for that. And I went and it was like a spa treatment and I got the shave and all that. And they would wax your nose hair. So they suck these giant waxed Q-tips up there. Oh my God. I don't care if my nose hair gets to where you can braid it. I will never, ever do that again. I think I cried, like, because you know how when something happens to your nose, you tear up. I think I cried for like a week and a half. So I was worried that I was still going to be crying at the party. But
did it make you sneeze? I've, like, had that before. Like, if I was getting, like, that, it made me sneeze after that. Like, are you getting this, like? I
just remember, like,
pain, lots and lots of pain.
It had to be. I've never birthed a child, but it had to be worse than that. So
well, there are the people, like, they're.
I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with no on that case.
In a man brain, Stace. In a man brain.
In a man brain, stubbing your toe is worse than giving birth to a child. I'm just saying.
All right, moving on. Easy one. Football or baseball?
Oh, baseball. That's not even
really.
My whole life has been baseball is funny because I do a keynote where I go into, like, companies or a lot of times schools, and I talk about adverse childhood experiences and things in my own life and how I called it laughing through the curveballs, and how much baseball was such a constant in my life. We moved a lot, had a lot of things going on, and baseball was always the constant. And I was an only child, Casey and I were talking about that earlier. If I had a glove, a ball, and a wall, I was content for hours to recreate a whole baseball game. And so, I would pitch. I would watch ESPN, like, Wednesday night baseball, and we had a dog that had, like, a gate and a long hallway, and I would use the dog toy and I would pitch along the entire game with the pitcher. Like, baseball for me.
That's awesome.
If I was going to do anything in school, if I was going to read a book, had to be a book.
Okay, so are you a Phillies fan?
So that's a little point of contention in my family because my grandfather, who was like a huge force in my life when I was young, he'd come to all my little league games. He was he was a baker in Philly, and so we watched the '93 Philly World Series together when I was like 10. And was a huge part of my life. But my first game, my mom's side of the family is more like Yankees. So my first actual going to a game was Yankees.
Oh, no, don't even tell me you're a Yankees fan.
So I am. Yeah. So 2009 was a hard year because that was the year they played. So
yeah, you can't be a Yankees fan in a Philadelphia family.
I know. It's so hard.
Wait, speaking of which, when you said that your grandfather was a baker in Philly, that made me think of the Mummers Parade. We have not talked about the Mummers Parade.
What is
I
that?
would describe Mummers Parade to someone who's not like.
It is just the coolest thing ever.
Oh, Casey, it's like basically saying, imagine these like macho, like South Philly guys being like, hey, go into your mom's closet, get a dress. We're going to go march through Broad Street, but we're going to be manly about it. Like there's just all these like men's clubs that like come together and they do these. I don't even know how to describe it. Extravagant
costumes. They ride around like sometimes they're on cars, bikes. And there's the Mummers strut that they do, and it's a very specific strut, and they dance around. A lot of times I feel like I don't know why, but I'm like picturing the ones they've got like an umbrella and they're like strutting around the street, and there's bands playing. It is the most amazing. It's the most amazing thing ever.
When we wrap up here, I'm going to do a little YouTube search of that. So
I remember when the Eagles, when the Super Bowl and like Jason Kelsey showed up to like the parade and like one of like the iconic.
Amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, look up Jason Kelsey Mummers.
He is my favorite. He is my favorite, all-time favorite ever Eagles fan. Although I have a Saquon Barkley jersey, not a Kelsey jersey, but I love him for a lot of reasons. But I loved his speech in front of the Art Museum when they first won the Super Bowl. Like, what was it, 2018? And he was wearing like a Mummers, costume, I feel like. And I just in that moment I fell in love with him. And then because he did the Mummers Parade, I was like, you're the best. You're the best ever. Like, I love you. You will go down in history. I will be 80 years old in love with Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, well, he's not going anywhere. He's kind of dovetailed it into this cool media career. Like,
I agree.
So
I agree. Cool. And I love his wife. I don't know. They're good people. I mean, I feel like we're besties, we're not really, but I mean, they seem like such good people.
She does a lot of work with the Eagles Autism Foundation. So I secretly hope that eventually I'm going to run. I'm actually doing a show, a comedy benefit for one of the local teams that is part of the Eagles Autism Foundation. So, my daughter does every once in a while they do the cheerleaders have an autism day where it's like an all abilities day where you go down and they like cheer with them and you get to go on the field. So I secretly hope every time I'm going to run into her, him.
If you meet Kylie Kelsey, you needed to tell her about your friend Stacy.
FaceTime Stacy.
Like, I have this girl. You have to meet her. Yeah. No, they're great. The jury's still out for me on Uncle Travi, however, but.
Well, my daughters are big Swifties, so they like her boyfriend.
No, I'm teasing. What's not to love about Uncle Travi?
Well, I mean, everybody's got to have the fun, crazy uncle. I mean, so.
Yeah, he does strike me as that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm the fun, crazy aunt.
That's the thing. It's funny you say that because a lot of people are anti, and I'm like pro that. I'm more drawn to him because, I know his story. Like, he could have gone this really bad direction and lost everything.
Absolutely.
And I think, I don't recall exactly, but I think there were people in his life and possibly his brother and his family that, helped steer him in the right way.
100%.
So,
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I would love to see people win.
Yep, absolutely. Well, last of the rapid fire, I think we've gone through these in like 30 seconds, but last one. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Ooh, that's such a great one. You mean like no longer with us, or doesn't matter?
No, I think they technically could still be here, but they're just historical. Most are not, I would say, but some might still be.
Yeah, it's such a great question. I feel like I would love I would love to have had maybe like dinner with like Jackie Robinson. I feel like as someone I love like I'm such a huge baseball fan, but like I'm also a fan of people that have like faced adversity in their life and still chose the hard path. They chose climbing the 5,000 5-hour mountain to see the vista, because I think secretly, I want that for myself too. I want to know that I can go up against the odds and get through that. I really love the biopic they did with Chadwick Boseworth, who did played 42. So yeah, I think maybe Jackie Robinson. That would be. I think that'd be cool.
Very cool. I don't think we've had anybody say that. So
No,
that's a good
great
one.
answer.
So. Different. Yeah.
All right. We got a question from a listener. Hi, this is Tiffany from New Jersey. From a parent's perspective, what are some of the moments in this sport that feel completely chaotic at the time, but looking back, you can't help but laugh at?
That's a good one. I think the whole like just on comp day of like figuring out like, is it in the band app? Is it in this app? Where am I going? Like, and then it's like, get there. You're like, get there at 5:30, but she's going to go on sometime around tax season. And it's just like, like the whole madness of the logistics. And then, because then you realize it's not just you. Like, I'm always so concerned about my daughter and everything like this, but you're also realizing, wow, there's how many thousands of athletes here and people, and it's just the wandering through a convention. This weekend we went up to Kalahari on the Poconos to visit. There was a competition that had a cheerability squad, so we had an afternoon free. So Alicia and I went up, and it's just the madness of trying to navigate like getting around and through it. But then when you get there, it's kind of like, I keep going back to your like analogy of climbing this mountain, because like it's all of this stress and why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then there's that 2.5 minutes when, like we actually got to go into the parent section. They invited us in to be part of the family. And so I had gotten video of Alicia, and she's just cheering on. The team was called Supernovas out of DC. And she's just like, you can do it, Supernovas. And it was like, this is a girl that I didn't think would ever speak until, she didn't talk till she was 6. And now I'm watching her cheer on other people and just, and have so much fun doing it. And I'm like, oh, wow, this was worth the 1.5-hour drive, the paying for parking, the walking through the $35
all that.
The $8 Starbucks coffee that didn't taste like I thought it would. All of that was worth it to see her cheering on this other team. And it was just this cool thing that her and I got to experience together. And so I think all of the stuff we do as parents to go into getting them on the mat for 2.5 minutes, it's chaos and it's craziness, but the things that we gain from after it, much like the hiking to see that vista, I think that's a really good metaphor for that.
That's a great perspective that you bring that in, because, it's easy to get caught up in all the things. Man, this is tough, and it's a long day, and it's expensive, and we got to put in our fake hair and put on our war paint and and go to battle here, But you just nailed it, those. And I've heard that on countless times with parents and their kids. Just you never get that time back. And I think that's a thing of it. They do compete for 2.5 minutes, but there's so much more to that, so much more. The car rides there. Yeah. The car rides, getting ready, the team dinners, the fellowship with the other athletes and families. So great perspective.
Yeah. 100%.
Agree. Well, we have a community win to share. So, after listening to the recent MotUS Edge episode about team selection and tryouts, we realized we were making the process way harder than it needed to be for athletes, parents, and our staff. We are simplifying our evaluation system and communicating expectations earlier. We feel confident that this will help decisions with more clarity. This will help us make decisions with more clarity and confidence. We expect this year's tryouts to be the smoothest we've ever had, less confusion, fewer hurt feelings, and a staff that actually feels aligned. That's an all-star gym owner, which I think they're talking about the one that just aired on tax on tax day with Nelson. I think that's the one that they're referring to. So
yeah, Nelson's
cool stuff.
Nelson's got a great system to help simplify that. That's one thing we try to do at our gym is make it not everybody, but a lot of people are so stressed out. And when the kids come in and we bring them all in and we sit them down and like this, don't stress, do what you can do and nothing more. We're not asking you to do anything more than you're comfortable doing. And if you mess up, raise your hand and ask to go again.
It's funny, Casey, and this is kind of off topic from our podcast today, but I feel like as a young gym owner before having children, I didn't understand that feeling and that pressure. I didn't understand what the kids felt and what the parents actually felt. And then I had kids and I started going through these processes with my own children. And it was then that I was like, okay, I went to Premier and I'm like, guys, we've got to figure out what we can do to make this easier for everybody and how we can just make it more comfortable. And you're never going to be able to remove the anxiety from the parents and the kids altogether. But anything and everything that we can do to just make the experience in that moment to seem a little bit easier, the better, because it's just, no matter what, it's just such a stressful time. Like my kid, he you guys know, he plays soccer and every year it's club soccer tryouts and what team is he going to make? And oh my God, and did he do okay? And he comes home and I didn't do so good today, and then as they get older, it's like, well, as the parent, you're not going to talk to the coach. You got to let the kid talk to the coach and just letting them have the now he's a teenager. And so letting him handle it and keeping it in his hands it's like, dude, you got to learn to advocate for yourself, which is also an excellent part of sports, right? That's kind of what it's all about, is teaching them to do those things and how to do it well and how to do it, where it's, you don't have to be nasty or forceful or give ultimatums. I feel like kids and parents do that a lot of times. It's like, hey, my son's going through it right now, actually, on his high school team. It's like, John, you got to go ask them, what more do you need to see from me? What is it that I need to do to show you that I am deserving, and tell me so that I can go do it. And then watch me do it. You know what I mean?
I coached baseball for 17 years, and it was a competitive school district we were in. So I started, when I first started teaching, well before I had kids. So I resonated with what you said there, is I would have 72 seventh graders show up, and I have 3 days to whittle those 72 players down to 16. I'd try to keep 17, but we had one field for 7th, 8th, and 9th. So, and one coach. So it's it became a liability to keep more than that, because you just couldn't give them something useful. And I just remember what was so important to me is that by the end of the 3rd day, they knew that I knew their name. I could say hi to, so as they were playing catch in the beginning, I would just go around and my teacher brain was learn all these names very quickly so that they felt seen, and and then as it would whittle down to the rounds, we would have interviews. I would talk to every single kid and just face to face and be like, hey, here's the deal here. Listen, you're just not in the top 16. I think the world of you, but I can only keep 16. And, and then I would coach rec ball in the summer. So any of those kids that didn't make it, I'd be coaching the Babe Ruth team in the summers, and it was another way
to help train them up.
Yeah, because you never know. You could, by the time you get to high school, you'll get a growth spurt. Things will happen. Things will change.
That's when you find out who loves the game. I've gone through that with my boys in football. Because it's I remember my son, and there turned out being some health issues, but he had always excelled in football, and then around 11th grade he didn't. And he was no longer excelling. And, I thought he was girl crazy or something like that. Turned out he had MS and couldn't see. But anyway, it turned into a thing of hey, you're not going to play varsity. You're going to be an 11th grader on JV. And I remember having that conversation with him. I'm like, son, do you love football? If you love football, you want to be out there no matter you would be the water. If you love football, you'll be the water boy so that you can have the best seat in the house and be out there. Well, it turns out he didn't love football, and that was okay too. So, but, there becomes a time where that rubber kind of hits the road, and, because the reality is, and to your point, there's somewhere to play. It might not be where you see yourself, but if you want to play the game, there is somewhere 100%. To play the game.
Well, that's the most important part, is that there's always an outlet somewhere. And that was something that for me, part of that talk that I was telling you that I do at schools is one of my adversities is junior year. My Catholic school didn't have enough boys to field a baseball team. And I wanted to go to college for baseball. I wanted to, I had chances to play on junior Olympic teams. And so if I couldn't play school ball, I wouldn't be in a position to compete for the junior Olympic spot that summer. So I switched schools my junior year, and a kid smacked me in the back of the head in math class. I chased him down the hall. I jumped 3 stairs to kind of catch him, and I caught the last stair, broke my ankle, and gave myself a concussion. And it was the first day of baseball practice, and I had made this big move, all this stuff to go to the school for baseball, and I had to just show up in a cast every day and like throw soft toss and just not get to play junior year. And it changed the course of my life. It really and I found a way to keep playing. I played adult league up until COVID. I was playing in like 35 and older leagues. And so I always found a way to keep playing with it. But I did stop for about 5 years there where I really, really messed with my head. But then when I got back into it and was coaching and playing, I'm like, oh, this is just the joy. I wanted the joy. I didn't need to be like shortstop for the Yankees or whatever. I just needed to feel that joy.
You mean shortstop for the Phillies?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I was waiting in my head. I was like, oh, she's going to say something.
I'm intrigued on this story. We may have to talk to you a little bit more about coming to our MotUS Business Expo and telling this story and maybe combining it with a little cheer comedy. So, Stacy, that's your little nudge as a reminder of after this, we got to talk about that.
So, well, thank you so much, Jay, for coming on. We really appreciated having you. It was great. It was super fun. You've been absolutely one of our funniest guests, I feel like, for sure. So be sure to listen to our YouTube. Be sure to listen to our YouTube. You guys listen to me. I can't even. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the MotUS Edge. Check out our short videos, like and comment. We love to hear from you. Give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Join MotUS, and follow us on TikTok and LinkedIn at the MotUS Edge. And be sure to check out our new website, themotusedge.com. Follow our show wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you like what we're doing and you want to hear more, leave us a comment and tell all of your friends. And hey, if you're a gym owner, join the movement today and sign up for MotUS. Thank you guys so much for listening. And we're excited for you to have the MotUS Edge.
Thank you for listening to the MotUS Edge. We hope you had a blast. Join us next week for more on business, leadership, and motivation. Subscribe and follow the show where you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our newsletter at joinmotus.com. The MotUS Edge podcast is produced by ClantonCreative.com.